Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast, featuring inspiring interviews with Etsy shop owners, hosted by Ijama Elazu.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijama, and I thank you for joining me for this week's episode. And this week, my guest is Rashmi Krishnappa. She runs the Etsy shop, Rashmi Art Shop. Rashmi, thank you so much for being my guest, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Ijama. Nice to be here. I've always listened to your podcast, and I'm a big admirer of yours. And I'm sure I've made some of my friends listen to you as well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we are able to do this. So before we get into it, can you tell us about who you are and what you make and sell on Etsy?
Okay. Well, my name is Rashmi. I'm only a part-time artist. I'm a full-time software engineer. I work for a company here in Raleigh. I write code. But back to my art shop. So I sell art prints. I also do custom art. I sell originals. Getting into more a little bit, maybe like stationery items and stuff. I have some downloadables right now. That's what my shop is all about.
Oh, nice. How did you learn how to make the art that you do? Are you self-taught or did you take classes to learn?
I am self-taught. I used to draw as a kid, and I took a long break, kind of about 20 years in between, where I didn't do any kind of art. I got back to it around probably in like 2013. Just decided to pick up pens and start drawing again, and just started, and I liked it, so I continued drawing.
What drew you back in to art again after taking such a long hiatus from it?
I think it was the relaxing and meditative aspect of it. Like when I started to draw, it was like meditation. Mm-hmm. I was able to get lost in it. It felt good. It felt good doing something creative.
Yeah, I bet. And the designs that you make also feel like, they're meant to inspire, like a slow down and a calmness, in your drawings and your artwork.
Yes, absolutely. And as such, what I do is mostly pen art. It doesn't involve a lot of supplies or cleanup, and you know how it is with traditional painting. You need a lot of items to complete a painting. But this is literally a pen and a paper. When I started, I think even now my initial drawings are literally a single pen and paper.
Oh, wow.
So, I can pick it up and draw when I get some time here and there.
Yeah. Is everything one of a kind, or can you make multiples of the same piece?
Well, I do sell art prints.
Okay.
So that means I'm selling the same design multiple times. But yeah, I can make the same things. I have done a few in which I've had the originals sell off, and I had to repeat the same thing. It's not going to be fully identical,
right?
Because my patterns are completely on the fly. I've either been given a subject matter or I choose a subject matter, but the patterns are just come to me while I'm filling the spaces in.
Wow, that's a true artist, huh? So you opened your shop originally in 2015. When you did, what was your original goal at the time? Was it just for a side income? Was it just to support your hobby of art, or did you have some other reason for opening it?
Well, frankly, I don't think it's something I gave it a lot of thought. I would say it was more people driven I got asked for prints. In particular, there were like 3 people in my life who said, "Hey, we want to buy your prints." Um, and these were people on Instagram who had seen my art and said, "We want to buy your prints. You should start selling them." And from when they told me that to when I actually opened my shop, it probably took around a year. But I thought,
What?
let me try this. Let me just do this. And I think Etsy being easy is, I think, what made me do it. I mean, of course, I did research all other platforms on and how I could actually sell these prints because the people asking me were not exactly local people or my neighbor who I can just go give her a print.
Right.
But so it looked like I needed an actual online shop and also not something in which I was willing to invest a lot of money since I was just beginning. So Etsy seemed to be like a good choice, and that's how I ended up opening the shop.
Now, since it took about a year between when people started asking and when you actually did it, do you know if the people who originally wanted it eventually found that you opened your Etsy shop? Like, did they hang around that long?
Oh, well, there was one particular friend of mine. Her name is Deepika, but she did buy it. She bought it in 5 minutes of me opening the shop.
Wow.
So she
That's
was my first.
amazing. Most people don't get their first sale in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, I did get my first 4 or 5 sales in the first half an hour or
No
so.
way.
But
So,
they were not random finds. But
yeah.
I mean, my husband posted on his Facebook, and then there were
Oh,
a few people on Instagram, so they immediately bought it. But
nice,
yeah,
nice.
after that, there was a gap.
Oh, how long? How long was the gap?
um, Probably like a month or two, even.
Okay.
Um, the There was no particular pattern to my sales in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
It was I got it in a month, and then I think there was a gap of 2 months.
Yeah.
Um, but to me, I didn't seem to focus too much on it. I was still happy doing my art, and whenever I completed something, I just put it up there. Um, did not think too much, and I think me having another job probably was part of it. I wasn't, desperately holding on and
Yeah.
waiting there. So that helped me in some ways. I was able to be flexible on because I didn't know at that point what sells because I didn't. It's not like I made a bunch of sales or I knew, hey, this is going to sell well, so let me draw more of this.
Right.
I just did what I felt like and kept putting stuff out. And I think for me, it was truly a gradual ramp up. Oh,
Okay.
and I also wanted to tell you, like when I first opened the store, I didn't know anything about Etsy really at that point. I mean, it wasn't a time when I was listening to podcasts either.
Uh-huh.
Even that started, I think, after a year after I opened my Etsy shop. Um, but you won't believe it. I mean, for months together, I never put anything in the keywords.
Oh, in
I
your
think,
tags and
yeah, I think
oh,
just
I
put a
believe it.
photograph, the same photograph that I used on my Instagram. I just dumped it on Etsy. I just made sure I fill up all the required fields
Mm-hmm.
and did not put any keywords, did not understand keywords, nothing.
Yeah. So your shop has gained traction over the last couple of years. What was it that you think you started to do differently that made that happen?
I think I did start to pay more attention to the business aspects of my shop. Previously, I was all about, just create it and dump it on there. Maybe somebody is going to find it and somebody is going to be interested in buying it. Um, so I started to be more what do you say, more direct about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm selling this. Do you want it? That kind of thing on social media. As well as I made a lot of changes on Etsy. For one, I tried to improve my knowledge about what it took to actually sell on a platform, on any platform for that matter. And when I started to research online, that's around the time I came to know about your podcast too. I started to listen to podcasts that were more into selling stuff, anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came across your podcast, and I really liked it because it was real people talking about it, about their experiences about shop, and it was more real to me than there are influencers on Instagram and Facebook, or these marketing gurus that you might have come across too.
Yeah.
Who, for me, it sounds all good and all preachy, but it does not apply to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And even what I'm saying right now, or what your guests speak to you, it's not something that applies to everyone. Everyone's experience is different. Everyone comes from a different place.
Yeah.
And as I said, I was part-time in this, and what many people said, I could never implement it. So, but I think the knowledge I gained from all these people really helped. And I think I came to know about E-Rank or Etsy Rank from your podcast.
Oh, yes.
Of the episode. And that was way into like 3 years into my shop. I didn't know such a thing existed, and it was freely available. I started to use that. I have to admit, it's been like probably over a year since I reused it again, but I think I need to do that. But that gave me an idea of things that I was doing wrong. I paid more attention to photography a little bit.
Yeah.
And actually what I put in there. Keywords are important, and description, everything.
Right. Well, thank you for saying that, because just for anyone who doesn't know, that was exactly the reason I started the podcast, was because I just wanted to hear what other people were doing. I knew that, it wouldn't be the same for everyone, and, everyone's journey and what they're doing would not apply to me, but just hearing from real people what they're doing day to day. I knew that, there would be some nuggets here and there from, this person or that person. And plus, it's just nice to hear from other people who are figuring things out as well. So I'm glad that was, that aspect of the podcast was really helpful to you.
Yes.
So you mentioned, you work as a software engineer. So Etsy is part-time for you. How do you manage your time, and what issues do you run into with having a full-time job and then running a business part-time?
I think the main issue is that I cannot give immediate attention to everything related to my business immediately. Things are put on hold for a indefinite time, and sometimes I cannot get to it, and I just need to prioritize things better. And some things I just cannot do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a part-time small business owner, I cannot do it. So but I try my best to find time to create, because that's the most important part of my shop. I mean, if I wasn't creating, then it doesn't matter how good my shop is or how good my marketing skills are. I need to find time to create. So as long as I'm on par with that, I try to push it through.
Yeah. Now I have a question. If you weren't selling, would you still be doing your art?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm always curious about that. Like
Because
sometimes,
I started after a long gap, and even after I started drawing, I did not start to sell. Um, I just needed some platform to put my art up, and I opened up Instagram. I didn't know anything about Instagram either, but I started to just put my art up there. Uh, but and I think I continued doing that for around 2 years, even before I even thought about selling.
and so all you would do is just draw, take a picture, and then post it.
Yeah, I used to draw, complete an artwork, and then take a picture and post it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen your Instagram, and and I feel like, yes, art always does well because it's very visual, and people go on Instagram to feed the eyes, and you're doing fantastically well on Instagram.
Oh, thank you. And I know Instagram has changed a lot over the years.
Yeah.
It's not really what it was before. Um, I mean, for me personally, from a sales aspect of it, um, I think Etsy has done good for me.
Yeah.
Most of my sales, I would say, people find me on Etsy.
Okay.
Uh, they are not coming, I mean, in spite of my large following elsewhere, they're not coming from other platforms to Etsy in search of me. It's more of them searching on Etsy for something particular, and then they're finding me.
I see. So what does a typical day look like for you?
My typical day would be, I do hit the gym first thing in the morning, when the gym was open.
Yeah.
But otherwise, get the kids ready to school, send them off to school, and then I head to office. Then I have a typical, 9 to 5 or whatever job, and then I come back. Housework, everything, and I think at the end of the day is when I sit down for some artwork.
Me time.
And some of that time will be going into my any other business aspect of Etsy, setting up Etsy or all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Do you do you make time every day to draw, or do you save some days just to take care of your administrative tasks, and then other days you do the more creative aspects?
I would say I touch upon at least a little bit of drawing every day, even if it's just a tiny bit of even just researching something about it. I mean, I do get a few custom orders. Just the planning part of the drawing takes me few days.
Really?
Just to figure out what I'm doing, what's going to be the layout, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I might at least spend a little bit of time on that. But yeah, I do go through days and days sometimes of not drawing at all. That also happens. But when that happens, there is always at least some admin kind of work going on.
Yeah. Now, I assume you have the Etsy app on your phone.
Yes, I do.
If you get a question or something from a customer, like an Etsy convo comes in while you're at work, do you separate the two? Are you good about keeping them separate, where you're like, no, not till you're on your own time will you attend to Etsy stuff, or do you respond right away? How do you divide your time?
I wouldn't say, I don't respond to it right away, but I do read it right away. I mean, it does pop up on my phone.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times I miss it because if I'm in a meeting or anything, there are times that I've just missed the whole beep, I've missed the notification, then it's, for later. But otherwise, I might at least end up reading it, and, so I just have it in back of my mind that, hey, I have this thing that I need to reply to this person. after my work hours. But no, I typically don't send out any communication or do any of those during work hours.
Okay.
Even my my Insta stories and all that kind of stuff is also usually posted in the night.
Okay.
One thing I'm trying to do more in the daytime is take pictures, because I learned that long back that my pictures were not good, because I told you I draw in the night. So
Yeah.
my art is completed in the night, and I could not wait to show it to the world, right? So I take a picture right then. I put some lighting in different angles and try my best to make all the details visible and take a picture and post it. But yeah, I've realized over time that's not the way to go. Now I literally wait for a sunny day and make sure that happens
Yeah.
sometime during the day.
Nice. Did you ever consider getting like a light box? You know, those mini studios?
I think I've seen those. I did. I never considered getting those, but I was curious about those, so I've researched those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know. I don't know if anyone's using that for like drawings or paintings. I know they use it for small, like products, like
Yeah.
jewelry, that
Yeah.
kind. I don't know. I'm sure it would work probably for art.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I asked because I was curious because I know for physical products, those work
Yeah.
really well. You know, especially if you don't have, you know, if it's not a good day outside for taking pictures.
Exactly. I mean, you can wait for daytime, but not every day there is sun outside, so
Right.
it's still not great pictures. And I've heard of many of my friends complain the same thing too. Hey, today was not a good day for
Yeah.
pictures. So,
Yes. I
and when
know.
you have something to post, you want to post it.
Yeah. I'll tell you
So,
this. There have been times where I've driven around with products in my car if I had to go somewhere. And when
uh-huh.
I'm there and it's nice and sunny, I'm like, sorry, you guys, I really need to take pictures or I'm going to lose this nice light.
Sunlight. Yeah, sunlight is key, right? To take pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where do you get the inspiration for your designs? And just let me remind everyone, if you want to go over and check out Rashmi's Etsy shop, it's Rashmi Art Shop. And you can go over and see her designs. Very unique. There's a cultural aspect to it. So not like just, any, I see themes in it. Where do you get the inspiration for the designs that you come up with?
I think my inspiration has been mostly around my culture. They're either culturally oriented or I really like dance themes.
Yeah.
So I think in the last couple of years, at least, I've pretty much stuck to these two themes, either cultural as in the religious or the spiritual aspects of it, gods and goddesses, or any kind of dance form. And I say any kind of dance form, and the world is full of all these classical dances, and which lend itself, I think, easily for patterns, because of the costumes and jewelry and all that.
Yeah.
So I really like those themes.
I do too. And I noticed that you also do different styles. Like some are black and white, but then some will have a color background, but the main focus, the focal point of the art piece is black and white. You really have an eye for blending the two and not making it look like you haven't finished doing it, if that makes sense.
Right. I think the color aspect started more after I opened my Etsy shop, because it seemed like there is a market out there for black and white art, don't get me wrong, but people like to see color. And my art did not lend itself to much color, but I think now I have a set of artwork that have a background color. And in fact, in the last 1 year, I've started to offer customized background color. So since I'm selling art prints, I use Photoshop to remove the background from any piece. And once I remove the background, I can put any color background.
Okay, so that's how people can pick what they want, what colors they want.
Yes, they can. Some of my art prints there have the option to pick a color for the background.
Okay.
The main art still remains the same in black pen.
Yeah. So your inspiration comes from culture and dance. How do you know, or how can other artists also know when they're crossing the line from getting inspiration from something versus just copying, another piece of art or something else somebody has created?
I mean, I genuinely believe that artists should not be getting their inspiration from another artist's work. Because if you were to look around, you'd find inspiration anywhere, right? I mean, let's take a simple example of an artist drawing a flower, right? The flower inspiration hopefully came to that artist from their garden or just thinking about a rose. But if that artist took inspiration from another artist, then their flowers are going to look identical. And with my kind of art, you would think it's pretty hard to go that much in detail and recreate every pattern. But I've seen instances people do that.
And it looks almost identical or even identical.
Yes, it does looks identical. Wow. It looks very identical. So that's multiple things, right? I mean, you're taking another artist's idea. I think I talked to you about it takes a little bit of time and planning to even come up with any kind of art to begin with. So they're taking away that, and they're taking away even the effort, and most important, they're not able to put in their own creativity. They're missing out on an opportunity to create something and show something different to the world. Because it's come to a point where many people recognize my art. And if there was someone doing something that I was doing, people get back to me. Hey, this person has appreciated what you did. And really, I mean, that's just added on to my list of things that I don't have time to deal with. And I think, Etsy doesn't like that kind of thing, right? I mean, so I don't want to be in trouble because my kind of art is there in another shop.
So I mean, okay, you don't have the time to hunt these people down. Have you ever though tried to reach out to someone whose work is a replica or duplicate of yours and ask them to take it down?
I have on Instagram in a nice friendly way. Most often I get blocked or I get yelled at.
No way.
Many of them are nice too about it. Some people just outright refuse. But I think at the end of the day, I've started to ignore and let it go. The only 2 times that I had to actually report or do something about it was when the duplicated art was on Etsy. So I found it on Etsy. I found it on Etsy because the person had put the link on Instagram to their Etsy shop. So again, I asked them nicely. It wasn't taken down. So I just wrote to Etsy. And I think Etsy is pretty good about it. It's not like they shut down the shop or do anything drastic if such a thing happens. I think they just pull down that listing.
Oh, just that listing. Okay.
Just that listing. Yeah, I think it gives a fair amount of chance for anyone not knowing not knowing the rules of not copying or whatever.
Yeah.
So
everybody kind of gets the benefit of the doubt, but then they also, give you the benefit of the doubt, as in saying, well, this is my design, and maybe they didn't know they took it from me, but can you just stop them?
yes.
How do you determine the pricing of your products, and has your strategy for pricing changed over the years?
I think I based my, again, it was based on a lot of research I did. First, I researched about how does one price a art print or a original, and so I combined that understanding along with looking at anything similar that was being sold on Etsy. I've recently noticed on Etsy, there seems to be a portion where, when you're setting up a listing, it tells you what other items of similar kind are being sold.
Yes, I've seen that. Not all the time, but sometimes it does offer suggestions.
Right. I mean, I haven't listed anything new lately. Not that many, at least, to be able to compare. But I did see that once and I was like, hey, that is new. But yeah, I have done a fair amount of research on Etsy itself just to see, whether I'm pricing it decently. And I believe right from when I started off, I did not price it on the lower end. I was definitely in the mid to upper end, I think, from my art prints, at least mid level.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I haven't done is I haven't changed the prices at all.
Are you comfortable where prices are?
I think I'm good, although I do feel like it's time to change, because they say you do have to, keep updating because your experience level has increased, and you're putting in more to run a shop as you grow as an artist,
Right.
and all that is true. So I think it's time. I just don't know how to go about it or what to do. But I think I've gone a whole lot of difference in the shipping prices all over the place.
Oh,
I tried it all. Thanks to Etsy's policies on that.
Yes. And do you ship internationally?
Yes, I do ship internationally. Currently, when we are talking, it's July. We are in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes.
So I did stop international sales temporarily.
Oh.
Actually, I had even put my shop on vacation mode initially for a month. But after I reopened, I don't know what the postal situation is across the world, and I didn't want to take a chance. International shipments have been a bit stressful for me. Nothing has gone wrong so far.
Yeah.
But just the 10 or 14 days of waiting,
Yeah.
And not every client even gets back to tell you that, hey, I got your package.
Yeah. Well,
and no tracking. Not every country has tracking. So what do you do? Sit and guess.
This is true. And I don't know if you're aware of this. And I don't know if Etsy has rolled it out to everyone yet, but there is now I don't know what they call it, like a global shipping program. And I know that's the eBay lingo, but Etsy has something similar, where if you sell something internationally, you mail it to a clearinghouse somewhere here in the US. I think it's in Kentucky or somewhere.
Okay.
Then they take your package and then they're responsible for getting it to the buyer in whatever country. And I know this because just in the last month, except for Canada, I had 2 international sales. One was to France and one was to Russia. And when I went to do the shipping, it printed out a US address. and I didn't have to do the customs form, but then it said to me, this is where it's going, and then they would ship it. And a couple of days, not a couple of days, but maybe like 3 days or so later, I got an email from Etsy saying, okay, your item has arrived at the shipping, I forgot what they call it, shipping depot or something, and we're going to send it to your customer. And then about a week or so later, they sent me an email saying it was delivered. So that was new for me. And that actually felt really good, because you're right. In the past.
So did you pay US shipping?
Sorry?
You paid US shipping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh.
Yeah, because it was a local, that was the other thing I thought was, I saw that the person was in France. And then when I went to, when I put in the weight and everything, the price for shipping was, I knew that was not going to France. And that was what triggered me to see exactly what address it was going to. And then, yeah. So that's a good a new development. And I don't know if it covers every single country. I know not Canada, because I think we can just mail directly to Canada. But for those two, it did make a difference. And I know one of them, the buyer actually reached out to me to ask where it was, and I was able to send the tracking number and say, it got there, it's on its way. I don't know where it is right now. I guess that's the downside. You still can't track it. You just basically get the notification that it's arrived at the clearinghouse, and then that the person got it.
But I noticed last year that many countries did seem to have door-to-door tracking, and I shipped mine first class. Even with first class, I got the tracking door-to-door for many of them. European countries, I did get it.
Okay.
So I think it's just a handful of countries right now that don't have tracking. But yeah, the prices are still high for international shipment. But my international sales had gained very good traction last year. I was actually getting them on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
It looks like people did not mind, because I don't take on any of the shipping. I put international shipping as is.
Yeah.
And looks like people are ready to pay, because they know that's how much it costs from the US. I guess.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes, I agree, because sometimes I would see the rates and I think, oh my goodness, I feel bad, but what can you do?
Yeah.
It's what it costs.
Right. Because I my smallest print I sell for $10. I mean, the cheapest international shipment I know of is $15.
Yeah. Well, if people really want your artwork, that's the price to pay. Have you ever, in the time that you've been on Etsy, had to deal with any disputes or negative feedback? And if so, how did you handle it?
No, touch wood. I don't think I've had any such bad experiences from Etsy.
Oh, nice.
I've had a good rating. I think it shows as 5 stars. I think there was this one time where someone put in a very good review in words, but I think they clicked on the stars by mistake and just clicked 3.
Oh, no.
But then, I mean, there's nothing to dispute there, because the review was excellent in words.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of annoying, though. It's like,
Yeah, I haven't had any issues. I would definitely like more and more people to leave reviews, I think.
Yeah.
Because the percentage is low, and it's not just for me, I know.
Yeah, it's across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in my head, I think, the best way or time, for someone to leave a review is like right when they see it and they're wowed enough to say, oh my goodness, I have to say something about this. But as soon as it goes on the back burner of their minds, like, okay, I'll go on and say something. It's not happening.
I've noticed, I don't know if Etsy always did it, but it's doing a pretty good job of reminding you. because I also buy from Etsy, and I did buy something recently, and I think I got 2 emails reminding me to leave a review.
Yes.
And my app had the notification sign on until I actually was done leaving a review. It was on.
Oh, you're right. I recently bought something and I'm part of the problem, I will confess. Because I think I got my second reminder to leave a review, but it came at I was
Right.
doing something.
It's not always convenient for you to. Sometimes you're
Yes.
like, I want to leave a really good review. Like I was at one point, I bought something from someone I know on Instagram, and I actually wanted to take a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just talked to you about how hard that is to take a good
Mm-hmm.
photograph and good
Mm-hmm.
lighting and everything. But I wanted to do justice, So when I leave a review, I'm going to leave a good one, not
Yeah.
just hit on stars.
Yes, yes. And I appreciate getting like the good stars, but I do like it when people say something, and that's the kind of review I like to leave as well, So I was like,
In
okay.
my case, I really like photographs. The kind where people actually frame my artwork and send me pictures of them framed or sometimes even hanging on their wall.
Yeah.
I really love those.
I know I
And not
see some
all
of
of
them in
them,
your reviews too.
and not everything in my review. Some of them email to me because they might have found me because email is how they got to me first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I do like them.
Yeah. Do you use the updates in Etsy quite often? In the
What do you mean?
so there's a section on the app or in on Etsy, and actually I've asked a couple of people lately and no one has been using it, and now I'm wondering if it even still is a feature. But there was an update feature where you could just quickly post a quick update about something, like or take a picture of yourself
Oh, I know
drawing or
what you're
something.
talking.
Yeah.
Yes, that's still there. I think it was just moved around a bit, but it's under marketing.
Oh,
If
that's where
it's
it is.
through the app, it's under marketing, and under marketing they have, that's where all the sales and coupons and other
Mm-hmm.
things are.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a section there called social media, and under that you could post mm, either you drawing something, your workspace, um, or things like that. And shop updates has been added under that category of
Okay.
marketing.
Oh, so that's where it is. Because I was like, I
Yeah,
don't know where it is anymore. I used to do it, but then I stopped seeing it.
yeah.
So it kind of fell off my
Yeah,
radar.
it's a little bit hidden, but I think from when I started to use it only recently, and it's been hidden around that time, so I know exactly where it is.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I don't have a regular schedule for it. It's more like if I take a good picture and I'm like wowed at the picture myself, to say, oh wow, this picture looks really good. Uh, so then I just go do a random update in there and
Yeah.
tag the listing.
Yeah. I think those are the best, actually.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the staged ones, but like I did good.
Right. Yeah, they're very random. Yeah, sometimes I would have just be packaging something and I'm like, hey, this looks really good.
Yeah. Um, Along those lines, are you signed up for the beta testing of the video feature?
Oh
Has that
yes,
popped up for
I
you?
did that. I did that very diligently. Uh, Not great, unfortunately, but they put a deadline on us, right? So I kind of had to take that many videos because I didn't have videos to begin with.
Yeah.
I just took all my art prints and tried to make videos of them by showing them the details in the piece.
Yeah.
Uh, so I tried to do that for as many. I think I have around 65 listings, and I managed to do 50 videos. Um,
What?
all, all within 2-3 days.
That's
Now I
amazing.
have 20 videos already because I made videos for Instagram sometimes.
Oh, okay. Did you
So
have
I
to
made
edit
use of
them down?
the ones that I had. I did not do any kind of edit. They were meant for Instagram, and but they had description on them. But I thought the description is still valid even for Etsy. By description, it said, like I do canvas prints, and it said that this is a canvas print and this is the size of the print, which is still valid even for Etsy. So I left it on there.
Okay. You know what I think would be so great for a video for you is a time lapse of you doing one of your drawings.
Right. I have one of them that I recently created. You should go into my Instagram and look at my IGTV tab.
Okay.
So I have a couple there, and one of them was recent. And I think I very recently got one of those tripod things, all the setup to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm actually equipped to do that. I don't have that kind of thing for all my artworks that are listed on Etsy, but I think in future I'm going to have some of those.
Okay, I have it up. I'm not going to play it because I'm afraid that the sound might come through in our recording, but I have the page open. And for anyone who wants to check out Rashmi's Instagram feed and her IGTV, her handle is rkrishnappa_. That's RKRISHNAPPA_. And on Instagram, there's a way you can slide over and see the IGTV videos on the phone if you want to. You also have a handle for your shop. It's at Rashmi's Art Shop.
Yes.
Do you post the same things on your personal and the art shop IG?
So my art shop, I wouldn't say is as up to date with all the artworks.
Okay.
But I hope to get more active on that account. And so over time, I think when I started the personal account, it was meant to be a personal account, I guess. In fact, all my artworks, I mean, if you look at my postings, they don't talk about me selling. It doesn't even say that, hey, this is for sale.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line, I realized that is lacking. I think I should be upfront and say, hey, this is what I'm selling, and make it a little bit more professional kind of. So that's why I opened the other account and hope to post stuff that I have in Etsy, along with, hey, these are available in these sizes and there are these prices, and you can order them, or that kind of thing.
Are you opposed to doing that on the personal Instagram account?
Well, I have started that from last year. I started to do that. Like I have a Etsy highlight and links and everything. From the last year, I've definitely tried to convert my existing account to more of that kind of platform.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, I don't really teach art, but looks like somehow my follower base is more along the lines of, I want to learn art from you, kind of, rather than buy art from you. So it's the different dynamics who I was targeting before with my hashtags.
I see.
So I've gotten a little bit more, if you look at my hashtags now, within the last year or so, a little more focused with the Etsy and the, who wants my art, that kind of sphere, attracting those kind of followers a bit more.
Yeah.
Than just say, mention the art type or the supplies or that kind of thing.
You're right. That would be speaking to two different types of audiences.
Right. And I think that's what happened in my case, because I did not open Instagram with the idea of selling. So I have a huge follower count, which can sometimes, for some people, seem like, hey, you must be making a killing out there in Etsy. But it's a different dynamics. Followers don't exactly equal to clients. They don't
Yeah.
have, unless you're targeting very solidly,
Yeah.
which I did not do. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And while we're on the topic of social media, so do you do anything else to promote your shop and your products outside of Etsy? So, you post on Instagram, but are you anywhere else on social media or a website of your own blogging using content marketing?
Yes, last year I did open up my own website. I used Squarespace. It's rashmisartshop.com. Um, but I wasn't able to give it much time, but I do have a website. I don't sell through my website. I don't have an e-commerce website. It is just a website showcasing my art, and it does link to Etsy. So people land from my website.
Okay.
To my Etsy shop. So I have a website, and I also have a Facebook page. Not active there at all. I have a Pinterest page. The Pinterest page generates the most amount of traffic to my Etsy store. Um, just because I have pinned everything from Etsy. I don't pin from my Instagram or website. I pin from my Etsy, so people go into my Etsy.
Yeah.
But I think it's my monthly viewing or whatever is really, really crazy high. And Pinterest was like the least amount of work. I didn't put any work in it,
I was
just
just going to say, did you do
pretty.
boards?
I didn't do anything. I just went to my Etsy store and I just pin occasionally. But I think things just move right in Pinterest. Like
Yeah.
somebody pins it, and then 100 people pin it, and
Yeah.
things go everywhere. But I think Pinterest has become more a source for other people to gain inspiration from. So I see a lot of people recreate my art and show it to me, saying, "Hey, I found your art on Pinterest. I tried it."
Huh.
Um,
How do you feel about that?
Great, I have a lot of following there, but I don't think Fin. I mean, I could be wrong because I don't know where all of my clients came from. Uh, but I've had at least two people tell me, like, "Hey, I saw your art on Pinterest. I came here to buy."
Oh,
So,
nice. Nice.
but I think that's a pretty small number compared to the viewers I have there and the people that are,
Yeah.
because I think Pinterest has been such a platform always. It's a place
Yeah.
where people do DIY stuff. You gain inspiration and you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you just pin it for later when you want to come back and figure out what you want to do.
Yes. And I think when it comes to social media marketing, again, I think everyone needs to find what works for them. And again, with my part-time capacity, I cannot pay the equal amount of attention to um, all my social platforms.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of pretty much stuck to Instagram right now, but I have these multiple avenues because it's really not good to put all your eggs into one basket, they say. So,
Yeah.
uh,
That's true. And there's also wisdom in picking one to focus on, but then,
yeah.
like you're doing also, like I do the same thing. My Pinterest strategy is just to click that box when I finish the listing. That's pretty much my Pinterest strategy. And last year, I had determined that I was going to learn Pinterest and really, own it. But then I realized I don't really like Pinterest all that much.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. No.
Yeah, it does bring, I see my stats. It does bring me traffic to my
It's
shop.
so tough right now. I mean, for my stats, I wish there was some way for me to filter that out when I'm looking at my stats in Etsy, because I feel like it gives a very skewed, visibility. Like I don't. It says social media gave me this much of traffic, when I know that 90% of that traffic was from Pinterest, it's kind of people are just clicking on it because it's there,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they need to look at it better, not to buy.
Yeah.
And I think the visibility of what uh, which of those clicks actually results in a sale is not very clear, right? When a sale happens, I don't know what they clicked on to get there.
Yes, this is true. And you're right. That's something I've always wondered. And the way things are right now, the only time I'm able to tell what resulted in a sale is now from the offsite ads, because
Yes,
we get
exactly.
charged. So
Yes, that's true. I was surprised by that, by the way. I didn't know such a feature existed.
Oh, yes.
And I think it came in middle of the pandemic, and
In
I had,
July.
and I told you, I think April was when my shop was completely offsite, like I closed it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw a sale and I was like, what is happening here? Why am I paying this much? Then I went and looked, and there were like 2 sales that had come through offsite ads.
Yeah.
I found that interesting.
Yeah. So do you think that the sales for you that resulted from the offsite ads were worth what it cost to get them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think ads cost money.
Yes.
Ads anywhere. It was good. I mean, see, whatever they clicked on to get into my shop, that is not what they bought in both the cases.
Really?
No, not at all. It was completely different. And what they actually ended up buying was bigger in value, and they also bought multiple pieces.
Oh, wow.
So I think just the fact that they clicked something to get into my shop and were able to see other things in my shop did help. And again, looking at the offsite ads, and I know that I still have a option to opt out of it, because I don't fall in that bracket of higher sales amount, I think.
Right.
But I would like to keep it.
Yeah,
I would like to keep it. And I think this is one more reason of one of those things that I told you about, added costs, and why I think I should update prices.
Yes. Yeah, no, it makes sense, because now we all have that added cost of advertising, which we didn't before. And
Right.
it's part of
And
the cost
Etsy
of...
already did changes last year too, right? We all are paying a bit more here and there.
Oh, yeah, with the
based
increase
on
in
Etsy.
the transaction fees and whatnot.
Right, they did that, and they also added this thing where they now take something from the shipping too, right?
Yep.
So yeah, Etsy has done some of those tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's not unreasonable to do that.
and USPS keeps doing tweaks on us.
Every
So
year.
yeah, why not us? I mean, what are we doing still with the same shipping cost and trying to say, hey, free shipping
Yes.
here? So,
Yeah, I know I had flat rate
shipping. I have to tell you, I only started to use the Etsy label thing only recently.
What?
And even that was from your podcast when someone mentioned it.
Oh,
I was never
the label printer?
I was never printing my own labels. Like, I used to package it and take it to the post office.
Oh my goodness. No, you didn't.
But I think I heard about that in a podcast. Even after hearing, I didn't jump on it right away. But then there was the pandemic, right? And I was like, oh, I can't go out now. I shouldn't be going out. And then I saw this thing pop up on Etsy that you can request pickup. And I was like, okay, I can request pickup, but what about my labels? And then, okay, I'm going to do this. So that's what I haven't stepped into a post office ever since I opened my shop.
Oh man, Rashmi, welcome to the world of a number of us.
Oh, that's
Yes.
so. I mean, they pick it up from their door.
Yes,
I'm
they do.
like,
Although I have to say, it took a couple of tries before my mail person figured it out.
oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, because I think they weren't used to coming to the door to pick things up, and so the first
Okay.
day it was still there, and I knew that they had delivered the mail, so I called the local post office,
Mm-hmm.
and well, I called USPS, and then they transferred me to my local post office, and fortunately they hadn't closed yet, and
Oh,
they said,
okay.
oh yeah, that they just weren't used to looking. I guess there's some
Still,
notification thing that tells them where to go and pick up, and so
yes, you specify where you leave it. Yeah.
yeah. So somebody, I think that day I took it, then the next day same thing happened, but they said just to leave it there, and then somebody would come and get it, and they did. And then after that it's been fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, the US Postal Service offers a pickup pickup service, so you don't have to go to the post office to drop off your package or go and drop it off in one of their mailboxes. If you put in a request the night before, the next day the mail person will come and pick up the package from your door, your front door. You don't even have to see, you just leave it at your front door and they pick it up. So if you pay for your postage online, you have your label printer, you print out your postage, stick it on there, put it at your front door, tell the post office there's a package to pick up. You never have to leave your house. Well, during the pandemic, we couldn't, but this was a good way to still
Yeah.
keep selling.
And it was a good way to start this process. Also, another thing is printing the labels from Etsy gives you a discount of something like 25 to 30%.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's huge. I can see the huge difference.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right. Because if you were walking in, you were getting the commercial
Yeah,
rates.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it was like for my packages, it was $4 plus if I
Ooh.
went into a post office. But printing from Etsy, it tells you there. It's usually anywhere up to 30%.
Yeah. Yes. So it's a big difference too.
Yep.
And if let's say you have a Shopify store and you want to do the same thing, you can still get the lower rates. You just have to open an account with USPS.com and buy your postage online, or you can pay for a service like stamps.com and
Yes.
do the same thing, buy your postage online.
Yep.
So for your website, what's your goal with it? Is it to eventually make it an e-commerce site, or is it to one day use it for like content marketing where you'll be blogging and writing about your artwork and what you do to pull in traffic from the greater outside internet?
I think I want to say all of the above, but I don't know if I'll ever be writing a blog. I'm just bad at writing. But I wanted a personal shop-like thing. But again, I think it was more of a thing of me thinking not to put all my eggs into one basket, right? What if something drastically changes with Etsy?
Yeah.
Etsy is not under our control, and none of us have signed an agreement with Etsy to say, "Hey, don't just shut down or don't do this."
Yeah.
It's not our space. So I guess I wanted that kind of a personal thing. But I'm still working on the SEO aspect of it. I think that is slowly beginning to ramp up too. In the last 1 year, I've seen somehow people do land on my website. Because I know that currently if you search if you do random searches, my art shows up, but most often it's for Etsy. Sometimes it's for Pinterest.
Okay.
So if I do good on my website, I think my website would show up too.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of contacts on custom art from my website. I do have a form there that people fill up to get in touch with me.
Do you ever ask them how they found
Oh,
you?
yes. If even on Etsy, if there are people who are having a conversation with me, like send me a message, I always ask them. And so far, I feel like most people. I mean, if they came from Instagram, I usually know them because they would have told me via DM on Instagram and then come to Etsy. But if they come to Etsy and they're talking to me, I ask them and they tell me, oh, I just searched for this keyword on Etsy and your art came up.
Okay.
So and that makes me feel good that, hey, my art showed up like in the first page or whatever, because that's the thing about Etsy, right? Because Etsy is getting pretty saturated, and you don't know if they search for something whether you are going to show up.
Right.
So and it feels good when I hear things like, hey, you're showed up, and so here we are.
Yeah, because it means the effort you put in is paying off.
Yes, yeah. And not everything I can know such a thing, whether they are where they came from, because not everybody has a conversation with me. People just buy and disappear. But very often they contact me for suggestions on framing or, hey, I want to buy this, but what do you think will go best with this? And that kind of questions.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I like that. I like that with Etsy. I do own a Redbubble shop, which is almost there probably because I'm not losing anything. It's just hanging around there, but I get almost no sales there.
Okay. How much effort does it take to run a shop on Redbubble?
Almost nothing. If you have already scanned your artworks, you just need to put it up there and pick the products you want your artwork to be on.
Okay.
So I upload a picture and then I select the products. The products can be a phone case, a sticker, coffee mug, or whatever.
Okay.
And those are things that I would like to sell, but I don't know how to. I mean, can't imagine the amount of effort I would have to go to put my artwork on a coffee mug and then sell the coffee mug. Seemed like a lot of work on my end for me to actually do it myself. So I'm like, okay, let Redbubble do it. And artists don't typically make a lot of money there.
I would imagine because I would imagine that they don't optimize your shop for traffic, just they optimize their website to pull in traffic,
right.
But maybe not your individual.
No control, so yeah. I mean, for me, really, Etsy has really worked out good.
Okay.
Not everyone is of the same opinion. I know people have lots of complaints about Etsy, and for me, I like Etsy.
Yeah. So. I'll put a link to Redbubble in the resources mentioned section of this post. So if anyone wants to go check it out, they can as well. Now, Rashmi, for that seller who's listening, you've been on Etsy now for about 5 years. And like you said, in the beginning, it was touch and go. And then over the last couple of years, you've gained traction. What are some things that you can say now that you see that you did that have helped you be more successful, that you can tell that new person who's just opened their Etsy shop and is trying to figure things out that they should focus on in these early days?
I think it's important to keep one's expectations on par with the amount of work you're putting it in. If you're just, spending minimal amount of time on your business and just considering Etsy as a social media and simply putting your pictures there, it's going to take some time. So, but if you're willing to invest a little bit more time in setting up your shop and learning about it, how to market yourself or how to post your listings, there's excellent resources out there. I mean, there is your podcast right here, but there's a bunch of resources that Etsy provides. Read up on all that, get some good information, and above all, it always boils down to your creation, of course. Continue creating and posting, and I think everything that you see successful on Etsy is very much passion driven. I think most shops that don't survive are, either they lack the passion or something, or they lack the patience.
Yeah.
Because things take time. Because I've heard your stories that you have on your podcast, and I know some of them were like, they just opened up a shop and they were getting sales left and right. I'm like, okay, how did that happen? I mean, there were months I forgot I had an Etsy store. That's how silent my first year was. And a lot of cases like mine too, where it took a long time for them to gain traction, but once it gained traction, they were able to move up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to not compare yourself with others, even with your creations. Be unique is very important with Etsy. Because I was just talking to you about how Etsy seems really, really saturated. If you try to be like others, or if you try to be like somebody else who's really successful, and that doesn't go well with the whole model of Etsy. If you want yourself to show up on Etsy and you want people to see you, I think keep that creativity and your uniqueness to show.
That's excellent advice. You're right, because yes, it's the marketplace can feel saturated, but I think the shops and the people who are doing the best are the ones who have separated themselves out in some way, and there's something unique that stands out from the crowd. So thank you. That's really helpful. And I like also how you said to put your expectations on par with the amount of effort you put into it, because it does take work. And if you're not doing anything with your shop, nothing is going to happen. You get out what you do put into it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then to that point, you mentioned that Etsy puts out resources. I'm going to put a link to the Etsy Seller Handbook. They put out articles about everything and anything that you want to do on Etsy, and they update it quite frequently. So if you're not familiar with the Seller Handbook or you haven't looked at it lately, I know just this week, and again, we're recording this in July, they came out with the updated marketing guide. So that's another good one. I mean, it takes some time to go through, and you might not be able to do everything right now, but at least if you browse through it, you can store some things at the back of your mind that you should get to at some point. So I will have a link to the Etsy Seller Handbook. Rashmi, what's one feature, okay, it can be more than one, that you really like about selling on Etsy right now? And then what's another feature that doesn't currently exist on the Etsy platform that you would like to see them implement?
I think the best thing I like about Etsy is I feel more connected to the clients. I always know who the clients are, from which part of the world, or who's buying my stuff. And always there's an opportunity for them to message me or interact with me. I like that, rather than, okay, my items are just getting sold, but I don't know who's getting them or for what they're getting them. Like,
Right.
it seems like many of us small business owners like that connection with the clients.
Yes.
I like that the best, I would say, of the Etsy platform. Feature wise, I think I really like their ability to edit multiple items together, and I also like their stats. Um, I study them sometimes to see what's happening, what I can improve to bring traffic, or even to change my keywords maybe to attract more viewers. So yeah, talking about stats, I think improvement that I would like to see is probably something that Etsy already had, the ability to see which country I was getting the traffic from or which region. I'm sure that was there somewhere, or maybe it's still there, but that seemed to be like a good feature.
Yeah, I remember that feature, and honestly, I haven't looked for it in a while, but I do know the feature, and I did used to like to see where people were, in the world who were looking at things in my shop. So,
Right.
yeah, I didn't know they had gotten rid of that. But yeah, that's a neat thing too, because then sometimes you can get information about how to tailor specific things, for who or where is looking at
Yes, yes.
it.
And I would like more information. I know we already talked about this in the sense that okay, somebody came into my shop, but did they end up buying? Okay, the people who bought, how did they reach my shop the first time they came to my shop?
Yeah.
So it may not be that easy because not everyone just comes to a shop and buys then and there.
Yeah, that's true.
That information is something that I've always wondered about, especially because I have presence in these multiple social media accounts, and there's also word of mouth nowadays because my clients have been recommending my products to their friends.
Yeah.
So it's good to get that kind of information.
Yeah, I can see how that would be helpful too. Are there any tools or resources that you use to help you running your business, and that could include even your artwork too, that you find particularly helpful that you can share with us?
Tools. I think I mentioned an online tool before. I really like eRank.
Yeah.
In terms of actual tools for my art, I don't have too many tools. I use pen, paper and pen for the large part of it.
Yeah.
But I think it really helped that I got a printer at some point. I don't make all my prints at home. I still get them professionally done in a shop, but I'm still able to use the printer for labels and business cards and all other stuff. So I think that's really handy to have, especially at a time like this when you don't want to run out to get stuff printed.
True.
Yeah, and I like the I got a gooseneck holder, which is a tripod on a friend recommended it to me. I think that'll be good for me to make videos and pictures too.
Oh yeah, I just got one of those too as well. Have you played with it yet?
Really nice for any kind of craft, art, cooking. I like those.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to play with yours yet?
Yes, the one time lapse that I made, you'll see it on my Instagram. So that one I actually made using that.
Oh, nice. Okay, I need to look out. Go back for that one. Go back and watch that. Do you have any Etsy shop shout out? And this can be other Etsy sellers or just any other artist or someone that you want to just send some love to.
Oh, yes. So I have some friends on Instagram. These are people who have supported me throughout from day one.
Yeah.
I think I already mentioned the name Deepika. She was the one who encouraged me to open an Etsy shop. Well, to start selling my art prints. So I would definitely like to give her a shout out. She makes pottery. Her pottery business is not as old as my shop, but she does excellent pottery. I would like to list these people, in your comments or something. But there's Deepika, and then I have a friend.
What's her handle?
Her handle, she has 2 handles actually. Do you want me to spell it for you?
Sure. Yes, please.
Okay. It's Isan Pottery. So it is ISAN_ pottery.
Okay.
This is the Instagram handle. It's beautiful pottery. You should go check it out.
Okay, good. Because I want to link to it. So I will pull her up and then put a link to her Instagram. Yeah.
And the other 2 Etsy shops that I would like to give a shout out to are, one is from my friend Sharanya. She's in India. Her handle or Etsy shop is Color Bloomers. It's color with
a U.
Yeah.
Okay.
Color and bloomers. It's one word.
Okay. What does she make?
She makes colorful, beautiful paintings.
Oh, nice. Okay. And you had another one too, right?
Yes. The other one is Vedamurthy. I'll spell that for you. Vedamurthy.
Okay.
She makes art related to Indian mythology.
Oh, yeah.
And she also has very floral inspired touch on her watercolor paintings is what she has. And
Vedamurthy is the name of her Etsy shop?
Yes.
Fantastic. Oh, great. I will link to everyone that you've mentioned so folks can go and check them out. And if you didn't catch the spellings, the links will be in the show notes for this episode at convome.com. And Rashmi, what's the best way people can connect with you if they want to talk with you, ask you questions, or just carry on this conversation?
I go with the email rashmisartshop@gmail.com. Okay. I answer to that, check that regularly. But then I also do check my Instagram DM and my Etsy conversation messages as well. So really any of those will work.
Okay. All right. So I will link to everywhere you can find Rashmi, her art shop on Etsy, which again is Rashmi Art Shop, and her Instagram channel, both of them. So anyone can easily find you and connect with you. Rashmi, thank you so much again for taking the time out to be my guest, to come on the podcast. I've enjoyed learning about what you do and your journey on Etsy, and I would love to catch up again sometime in the future just to see how things have advanced and progressed for you, if you're okay with that.
Oh yes, sure. I remember I wrote you an email like right when I listened to a few of your podcasts. But
did I respond?
I had not sold anything. I was just writing to you to say, hi, I listened to your podcast.
Oh, please tell me I responded.
You did respond. You
Okay.
did respond, and you said, hope to have you on the podcast someday. And here I am.
And here you are. Oh, thank you. That makes me happy. I like coming full circle like that. So.
Thanks for doing these podcasts. As I said, every one of them have been useful or inspirational in some way or the other, and I enjoy them. I enjoy listening to them while I go for my everyday run, walk, or everything.
Thank you. I appreciate you listening, and also I appreciate you for tuning into the podcast. And if you want to connect with me, you can email me directly at interview@convome.com. If you want to be my guest, please use the Be My Guest form. It's also there at convome.com. And if you just want to reach out and say hi feel free. Again, convome.com. I have a contact form there as well. If you're on social media right now, I think Instagram is probably the fastest way to get to me on social media if you don't want to use my website, and my handle is at Convo Me Podcast. If you want to find out about upcoming ETSU training sessions that I have, just click on the workshops and trainings tab over at convome.com. You'll see what's coming up, and you'll see how to get access to previous webinars, the recordings. Again, I thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast, and I will be back next week.
Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review too. Visit convome.com to leave a comment or feedback on this episode.